Hello everyone. The topic for today, the topic for today's discussion is congenital adrenal hyperplasias. So first of all, the question arises: what are congenital adrenal hyperplasias? Basically, it comprises a group of disorders in which the primary pathology is raised ACTH, adrenocorticotrophic hormone. Raised ACTH. This raised ACTH in the CAH will lead to adrenal hyperplasia, right? Hence giving the name congenital adrenal hyperplasia. So in order to understand the spectrum of disorders of congenital adrenal hyperplasia, we have to first understand the metabolism of cholesterol into three primary components. The first components which we will understand, that is your mineralocorticoid, which is aldosterone. Next component is glucocorticoid, which comprises of cortisol and its derivative. And third component is sex steroids, which is basically testosterone, androstenedione and dehydroepiandrosterone, right? So these are the basically three stem of the cholesterol, which you can say give rise to the various intermediates, and any disorder in this spectrum will lead to congenital adrenal hyperplasias. So this is a flowchart of the cholesterol metabolism. First of all, what we have to remember is this star protein. The star protein is the one which is responsible for transport of cholesterol into the adrenals. Rest diagram, no need to remember. Now, there's one method in which you can remember the flowchart in a minimalistic way, and you can also remember the consequences of various enzyme deficiencies, right? As you know, adrenal has got three layers, which is commonly remembered as GFR. G is for glomerulosa, which secretes the mineralocorticoids. Next is fasciculata, which secretes the glucocorticoids. And third is the reticularis, which is responsible for secretion of the sex steroids, right? So as you all know, that if the mineralocorticoids, if they are raised and if they are decreased, right? If they are raised, it will lead to hypertension, it will lead to increased sodium, this will lead to increased body water, this will lead to edema, as in the case of cirrhosis, and this will also lead to decreased potassium, which will damage the heart, causing arrhythmia. Now, next is glucocorticoids. Before that, if they are decreased, the reverse will happen, that is hypertension, decreased sodium and increase potassium, which is the one of the main reason causing arrhythmia again. So potassium level alterations can cause arrhythmia, right? Basically, increased potassium is the one which is more significant in causing arrhythmia. Now, if glucocorticoids, if they increase or if they decrease, if glucocorticoids increase, you get a Cushingoid features. What is Cushingoid features? Moon face, belly hump, lipid deposition, purple stria. These all are the Cushingoid features. If they decrease, what will happen? Now, glucocorticoids, they're basically stress hormones, so they cause raised glucose levels in the time of stress. If they're decreased, it will lead to hypoglycemia. This is one of the main manifestations of decreased glucocorticoids. There's a permissive action for catecholamines also, right? They augment the action of catecholamines in order to raise the blood pressure. This is one of the other actions of cortisol or glucocorticoids. Now, the important thing to notice is these two features, they cannot be present, or they will usually present postnatally. Question is why? Because in fetus, the electrolyte balance and the you can say glucocorticoids, these all are regulated by mother. via placenta, right? So basically the electrolyte and the glucocorticoids, these are provided by the mothers. So baby or fetus would not manifest the signs and symptoms of these deficiencies, right? But there's one exception, that is reticularis. These features can be present prenatally. Why? These features can be present prenatally because the fetal HP axis, hypothalamic pituitary axis, is one of the main axis which results in the production of the androstenedione, DHEA and estrogen in the baby, and that will result in development of genitalia. So this has to be present prenatally. The deficiencies of sex steroids will manifest prenatally. Again, it can be same. It can be either increased or it can be either decreased. What happens if sex steroids is increased? Sex steroids is basically androgens. The androgens, if they are increased, what will happen in males? Males usually do not exhibit a severe defect in case when androgen levels is increased. What is happening is the external genitalia size will increase. That is, prostate size will also increase. External genitalia, I mean to say, is scrotum, right? Important thing to remember is usually the testis is normal in these cases if the androgens are increased, right? Next is, what if they are decreased? The decrease in androgens is one of the important features which will manifest severely both in cases of males and females, right? So what will happen in males and what will happen in females? In case of males, there will be low androgens, right? So there will be improper development of genitalia, and that is ambiguous genitalia. What will happen in females? In females, the decrease in the level of androgens, right, will result in decreased levels of estrogen because aromatase converts DHEA to estrogen. As a result, the estrogen level will decrease and they will manifest with primary amenorrhea, right? So these are the features if the sex steroids are decreased. Yes. Now, what if they are increased in females? This is one thing we left. So if they are increased in females, that will lead to virilization, or that will lead to male-like genitalia, right? So why is this important? So these features are important because when we are going to study the enzyme deficiencies, the question, or if a case scenario comes, it will be in the form of the clinical features. So if you know the clinical features, then you can decide whether if the glucocorticoid is increased, decreased. Same goes with mineral and sex steroids, and then you can decide the enzyme deficiency. Now, coming to the main part of the video, as I said, the adrenal has got 3 layers: glomerulosa, fasciculata and reticularis, right? So I'll continue with the same sequence. I'll start with the one precursor, which is cholesterol, right? So now I'm drawing 3 lines. The first one would be mineralocorticoids, right? First one would be mineralocorticoid, that is glomerulosa. Second one would be glucocorticoid or fasciculata, and third one would be reticularis or sex steroids, in short SS, right? Now this is nothing but just a diagrammatic representation of the layers of adrenal. Now I said no need to remember all the metabolites, just we have to remember one thing. What is that? That is DOCS in the first line. Why DOCS is important? Because DOCS is deoxycorticosterone. So what it has got certain amount of mineralocorticoid action, and that is important to remember in one of the enzyme deficiencies. Now any substrate which ends with -one is usually a mineralocorticoid. Any substrate which ends with -ol, like cortisol, deoxycortisol, is a glucocorticoid product. And androgens, as we know, it is DHEA, testosterone, etc. Right? So now let us start with the enzyme deficiencies. Now, as I said, DOCS is one special metabolite, right? So we'll draw a line in front of it, we'll draw a line behind it. Now go in the descending order. One in front will be 21 hydroxylase, one behind will be 11 beta hydroxylase, right? So these are the two enzymes. Again, this, see, I am extending the line to first two rows, right? You have to remember that 21 and 11 beta, these are the two enzymes which are common to the pathway of mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid. The one enzyme which will involve all the three layers, and this enzyme has got 3 in the name, right? So this is one enzyme which will involve all the three, and that is 3 beta SHD, 3 beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. It has got 3 in its name. So remember, it will cut off all the 3 if it is deficient, right? So this is 3 beta SHD. We have got one enzyme which is remaining. Now, as you know, the body has various compensatory metabolisms. Like if my body is not synthesizing glucocorticoid, so I have some intermediate pathways which will convert mineralocorticoid to glucocorticoid, right? So that as a result, the body is not severely deficient in glucocorticoid. There are 2 minor pathways. We'll just represent them by using the arrows, right? Now there's only one enzyme which blocks the pathway horizontally. What do I mean by that? It is like this. There's only one enzyme. Let me use a different color. Yes, there's one enzyme which blocks the pathway horizontally. This is nothing but 17 hydroxylase, right? 17 hydroxylase, as you can see, it blocks the pathway horizontally. Now let us start with the enzyme deficiencies, right? So now first I'll take 11 beta hydroxylase. Now if 11 beta hydroxylase is deficient, as you can see, what will happen? There will be decreased mineralocorticoid, there will be decreased glucocorticoid, and as a result, due to as both are decreased, there will be feedback stimulation of ACTH, which will result in increased sex steroids, right? This is what we would expect if there's 11 beta hydroxylase deficiency. Now the trick here is, why did I mention DOCS? DOCS has got a mineralocorticoid like action. So if 11 beta hydroxylase is deficient, what will happen to DOCS? DOCS will increase, and this will exhibit mineralocorticoid like action, right? If this exhibits mineralocorticoid action, that means that there's increase in water, there's increase in sodium, there's decrease in potassium, right? And this will result in hypertension. So although the production of mineralocorticoid is hampered in 11 beta hydroxylase deficiency due to increased DOCS, which has got a mineralocorticoid action, it will present with hypertension. So if a child presents with hypertension, decreased glucocorticoid, that is nothing but hypoglycemia, and features of virilization, most common enzyme deficiency we would suspect is 11 beta hydroxylase. In fact, 11 beta hydroxylase is the most common enzyme deficiency causing hypertension in children, right? So this is all about 11 beta. Now let's take another enzyme, that is 21 alpha or 21 hydroxylase, right? So now if 21 hydroxylase is deficient, you will say decrease mineralocorticoid, right? Decrease glucocorticoid, right? Increase sex steroid, again due to feedback stimulation, raise in ACTH, third line will increase. So this is the basic presentation of 21 hydroxylase, right? Now if I say what will happen to DOCS here, DOCS will not be synthesized. As a result, this will present with mineralocorticoid deficiency, that is hypo-T. Hypo-T means there's decreased sodium, increased potassium, and decreased body water, right? Features of aldosterone deficiency basically, right? So yes, this is what will happen if mineralocorticoids are deficient. What will happen if glucocorticoids are deficient? Again, we said that is hypoglycemia. and what will happen if sex steroids are increased, which is virilization. So we have studied two enzymes, one in front of the DOCS, one behind. One in front which will present with decreased DOCS, that will lead to hypotension, and one behind which will present with increased DOCS, that will lead to hypertension, and rest of the features are almost similar in both the enzymes, right? So we have done two enzymes. Okay, next is one enzyme which blocks all three. This one is very simple, right? Again, it will block all three. It will present with decreased mineralocorticoid, decreased glucocorticoid, decreased sex steroids. So all the three levels will be decreased, right? So again, decreased mineralocorticoid, it will present with hypertension. Decreased glucocorticoid, it will present with hypoglycemia. Decreased sex steroids, it will present with undervirilization in case of males and primary amenorrhea in case of females, right? So it will present with undervirilization in males and primary amenorrhea in females, right? Now the last enzyme which is remaining is 17. Now I said it is the only enzyme which blocks the pathway horizontally. What do I mean by that? That if this enzyme blocks the pathway horizontally, visualize the first line will be not affected at all, because it blocks the conversion of mineral to glucose. It does not have anything to do with the synthesis of mineralocorticoid, right? So if it blocks the pathway horizontally, what will happen? It will present with increased mineralocorticoid, again due to DOCS and aldosterone, both will increase, right? So it will present with increased mineralocorticoid, it will present with decreased glucocorticoid, and it will present with decreased sex steroids, right? So increased mineralocorticoids, that implies hypertension. In decreased glucocorticoids, that implies hypoglycemia, and decreased sex steroids, that is again undervirilization in case of males and primary amenorrhea in case of females, right? So this is the basic flow chart, or this is the basic diagram which you have to remember in order to see the symptoms and clinical features of the various enzyme deficiencies, right? Now this few concepts which we have to understand. Usually what happen in case of hypertension, you avoid steroids, right? But if the hypertension is due to CAH, now if you visualize the diagram, first line is what? Mineralocorticoid, right? If hypertension, that means it should be after DOCS. So one of the cause I would write is 11 beta deficiency due to increased DOCS. Second, now if I think about 3 beta SHT, all three will be gone, so it will present with hypertension. If I think about 21, right, what will happen to 21? Again, it will result in decreased DOCS, so no hypertension. So the second enzyme which causes the hypertension would have to be 17 alpha, one which blocks the pathway horizontally. So as a result, this is due to increased mineralocorticoid. But if hypertension is due to CAH, that is these two enzyme deficiency, the drug of choice would be steroids. Why? Because if I give steroids, the feedback regulation on the ACTH will be inhibited. Feedback stimulation would be inhibited, there will be decreased ACTH, and that will result in slowing of the pathway and correction of hypertension. So in cases of congenital adrenal hyperplasia due to enzyme deficiency, if you like, first most commonly in children, that is 11 beta, another one is 17, so 17 alpha hydroxylase, and the DOC here which we give is steroids, right? Now this is one concept which you have to remember. Now most common cause of CAH, congenital adrenal hyperplasia, is 21 hydroxylase deficiency. If you remember, again 21, it is before DOCS, so decrease mineralocorticoid, decrease glucocorticoid, and increase sex steroids, right? So most common cause of CAH is 21 alpha hydroxylase. For screening, right, for screening we use 17 hydroxyprogesterone levels. For screening we use 17 hydroxyprogesterone levels, right? Now there's one important concept in cases of CAH which you have to remember, that is, if there's a family history of CAH, right, what will happen? Again, most common cause I'll suspect is 21 hydroxylase deficiency. If there's a family history, I'll start with DEXA in the first trimester, that is 6 to 10 weeks. Now what will happen? In the second trimester, identify the sex of the fetus. It can either be male or it can either be female. Now, if the sex of the fetus is male, what is the important thing to remember is we have to stop DEXA. Why? If you continue giving DEXA in the second trimester, if it is a male baby, it will lead to decreased ACTH5 feedback regulation, which will result to decreased production of the sex steroids, and this will result in under-virilization in case of the males, right? And if the baby is a female or if the fetus is a female, you continue DEXA, because in that case you want to suppress the production of the androgens to prevent over-virilization in case of the female. So you continue DEXA. This is one of the important concept in CAH, right? So now, yes, so this is one of the important concepts. Next is treatment in general. What I'm talking about treatment in general, because there's no drug which can correct the enzyme deficiency, that is except the enzyme replenishment. Now, for symptomatic treatment, what we give first is, if there's a mineralocorticoid deficiency, we give fludrocortisone. Fludrocortisone is one drug which has got pure mineralocorticoid activity. And if the glucocorticoid is deficient, we give hydrocortisone. That is one of the most important drugs. You might have seen the use in the anaphylaxis. So we give hydrocortisone. This is general management of the CA. Right. So there's another one concept here regarding 17-hydroxylase. I said that it will result in decreased glucocorticoid, which will present with hypoglycemia, right? So yes, this is true. It will result in decreased glucocorticoids. Now, what about the presentation? What will happen in case of the presentation in case of 17-hydroxylase deficiency? So what will happen is, there will be, again, I told you one of the important intermediate is DOCS, right? In 17, what will happen? It will block the pathway horizontally. That will result in these DOCS, which will cause hypertension, right? So there will be increased DOCS, which will be converted into corticosterone, right? Now this corticosterone has got some glucocorticoid like activity, right? So due to this, there will be no hypoglycemia. Again, this is one of the twists, as we have studied in cases of 11 beta, right? It is after DOCS, so instead of blocking or instead of presenting with hypotension, it will present with hypertension due to raised DOCS. 17, same logic, increased DOCS converted into increased corticosterone. I say again, it is sterone, that is mineralocorticoid derivative. I do not mean that the glucocorticoid synthesis is present, so that is the reason they do not present. What I mean to say is increased DOCS, which will result in increased corticosterone, which will prevent the hypoglycemia features in case of 17-alpha hydroxylase. Another one of the screening test which is commonly used is in cases of 11 beta, right? So as you know, it is the most common enzyme deficiency causing hypertension in children. So for the screening test, we use deoxycortisol levels, right? For the screening test, we use deoxycortisol levels. Now, we have studied the 4 enzyme deficiencies here. So now let's recap in a fast way all the 4 enzymes deficiency, right? So what to do is, you visualize the diagram, you visualize the flow chart with your eyes closed and try to remember. First is 21 hydroxylase. I say this DOCS is one special intermediate, one before, one after. One before is 21-alpha hydroxylase. What will happen to DOCS? DOCS will decrease, that is decreased mineralocorticoid. It will present with hypotension. Decreased glucocorticoid, it will present with hypoglycemia. Increased sex steroids, it will result in over-virilization in cases of males, and in females, it will result in male-like genitalia growth, right? Increased sex steroids. Now, what will happen to 11 beta? Again, 11 beta is one which is after the DOCS, right? So, 11 beta is after DOCS. What will happen? There will be increased DOCS, which will result in mineralocorticoid-like action, which will result in hypertension. What will happen to glucocorticoid? It will be decreased, which causes the hypoglycemia. And what will happen to sex steroids? These will increase, right? Now third one is one which blocks the pathway horizontally, that is 17 alpha hydroxylase, right? If 17 alpha hydroxylase is deficient, the pathway is blocked horizontally. Mineralocorticoid, no problem, no issue. That will result in increased mineralocorticoid, that will result in hypertension. What will happen to glucocorticoid? They will decrease, but will it present with hypoglycemia? No, it will not present with hypoglycemia. Why? Because of increased corticosterone from mineralocorticoids, which will prevent the symptoms of hypoglycemia. What will happen to sex steroids? Again, it will block the lower two steps, right? So that will result in decreased sex steroids, right? That will result in undervirilization in case of males and primary amenorrhea in cases of females. Now the last enzyme is most simple, 3-beta-SHD. If you see the symptoms of hypotension, that is decreased mineralocorticoid, hypoglycemia, that is decreased glucocorticoid, and sex steroids are decreased, that is primary amenorrhea or undervirilization in case of males, it is 3-beta-SHD, which is quite clear, right? So the two important concepts which we learned in all the 4 enzyme deficiencies is DOCS, which you have to remember in cases of 11 beta, and another one is corticosterone, which is synthesized from DOCS, which you have to remember in case of 17 hydroxylase. So basically this is the summary of all the 4 enzymes which are most commonly asked for diagnosis in cases of congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Now there's just one simple concept of diagnosis. In diagnosis, you will be given the levels of mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, or androgens, right? And there's one concept of plasma renin activity. It's very simple. Plasma renin activity. Now, if you see the mineralocorticoid-like action is increased, if the mineralocorticoid-like action is increased, that will result in feedback suppression of renin, right? So if the mineralocorticoid activity is increased, in which conditions? I said 11 beta, increased DOCS, 17 hydroxy, upper line is increased, right? So in that cases, plasma renin activity will decrease if there's an increased mineralocorticoid action, and the reverse will happen. If there's decreased mineralocorticoid action, plasma renin activity will increase, right? It will increase if there's a decreased mineralocorticoid action, right? Basically what you would be asked is which enzyme is deficient, what are the clinical features, screening test, and this one concept of if there's a family history of congenital adrenal hyperplasia, when to start DEXA, when to stop DEXA. Thank you.